I'm joined now by Amy Walter with the Cook Political Report. She's also a fellow at the University of Chicago Institute of Politics, and Nathan Gonzales, deputy editor of the Rothenberg Political Report and a contributing writer for Roll Call. Good morning to both of you. All right, Amy, give me your sort of first take on what you learned yesterday that tells you something about 2014.
Well, the electorate in Virginia pretty much mirrored the electorate in 2012 in terms of the demographics of it. And, you know, the president won Virginia by 4 points. McAuliffe won by 3 points. So what it says to me is when the turnout looks similar to the way it looked in a presidential election, that's good for Democrats. Listen, I think the health care message is going to be a problem for Democrats in 2014. There's no doubt about it. But I just don't really buy that this was the issue that tightened this race up. I think what you're looking at is with this kind of an electorate, these are the results that you should expect.
You know, Nathan, it's interesting. There were some Democrats last night at the McAuliffe event that said, you know what, hey, they're relieved that they were able to turn out this type of electorate without Obama on the ticket, number one, and number two, the fact that he's actually upside down, that maybe the Democratic Party isn't so reliant on the president as they thought they were.
Right. I mean, President Obama's job rating was actually worse than Governor McDonnell's job rating in exit polls.
And by the way, and his job rating was worse in this Virginia election than it was in 2009 when McDonnell won in a landslide.
Right. And I think the challenge, though, for Democrats in looking at the President Obama factor is that the fight for the Senate is going to be held in states that are more Republican than what Virginia is, where the president's going to be less popular, where I think health care is less popular than Virginia, and the battle for the House is going to be held. Democrats have to win Republican-leaning districts, even if it's slightly Republican, in order to get back to the majority in the House, and that's the challenge.
And Amy, obviously this issue of government shutdown, Tea Party, the Democratic message, and the Republican message of health care, it's possible both parties are right.
I think that's exactly what happened in this case. It was sort of like a crosswind, right? They bumped off of each other, and you sort of ended up in a middle ground. But going into 2014, at least what I'm seeing right now is Republicans seem to have learned their lessons from the shutdown. Maybe not. But if they don't step on themselves again in 2014, the health care issue is going to continue. This isn't just about the rollout of the healthcare.gov. This is about, in 2014, how many people are going to be talking about their plans changing, being dropped, their coverage is more expensive. That is going to be important. And to Nathan's point, I agree exactly. This issue is going to play a lot differently in Arkansas and Louisiana and Alaska than it played in Virginia.
And you know, Nathan, you still look here at some of the Republican Party issues, and you say to yourself, they have brand problems, massively unfavorable. So do you think this establishment versus Tea Party issue, which is clearly what's dragging the Republican Party brand down, do you think the Tea Party says, oh, well, maybe the establishment's right?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I don't think there's anything that happened last night that was going to make the Tea Party back down, because you have to remember there's a mentality in the Tea Party that doesn't even necessarily value elections or even value the majority. It values purity. And it,
wants to win an argument, not an election, is what some people think.
Right, and so I don't think the GOP civil war is not going away anytime soon. Alabama is a good example of that, even though the establishment candidate won there.
So a big night for the establishment, but it literally is like winning a round in boxing.
It's a long war.
Nathan Gonzales, Amy Walter. It isn't day after elections are great. Every election day is always a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you both. Trivia time. It was 1912. That was the last time that a ticket of 2 governors won the White House. You knew it was Woodrow Wilson and, of course, Thomas Marshall, one of the great governors of this century, the last century. They won the White House. Thanks to Slate's Dave Weigel for that fun trivia question. And congratulations to today's winner, Wheelman 3690. We'll be right back with my takeaways.